What is up, successful dropouts? It has been quite a while. I think the last episode I released was back in November or so, and so it's good to be back on the mic here. It's just been crazy busy these last couple months. A lot of fun things going on, a lot of projects in the works. Launching a couple new businesses, like myself, launching a couple new businesses here between now and March. With a couple different partners, and in addition to that, my whole family is involved in a new, well, we're not calling it a business incubator, but innovation center, but functions like what you would know as a business incubator, called Fulcrum in our city of Yakima, Washington, and we have a 53,000 square foot building under contract, and it's a fun project that we're doing with our whole family, and then some other really close friends and some amazing individuals, and especially people in the Yakima community now. And so a lot of time's been spent on that. Yeah. In addition to our other businesses, the juice bar and the yoga studio, and I'm still running affiliatefix.com, and the bandwidth is getting a little bit thin, but luckily things did sort of slow down on all fronts, though, coming into the holidays. Yeah, and so nice. Actually it's been pretty relaxing, but
it's been good.
Yeah, anyways. How have you been?
I've been good. Pretty much the same as you. Involved in all of those areas. Yeah, it was nice to have things kind of slow down for the holidays a bit. That was I think unexpected. I think we were planning on working more than we have been, but it's been really nice.
Remember, I told you there was definitely a couple days when, like, there's always things I can find to do. Yeah. It's just a never-ending to-do list. But as far as pressing things with like an immediate deadline, there really wasn't anything very pressing. So there was definitely 2 or 3 days this last holiday season where I had the time to work, and I was kind of working on some things, but nothing was pressing. And so, like, I didn't have to work too hard, but also, knew I could relax, but didn't feel like relaxing. It was
interesting.
It's kind of a weird thing. Mm-hmm. It's sort of, it's like a Ginger curse to, it's just very hard for us to relax, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true.
Myself, and I know Shalane
like
is the
blood
same way.
Gingers.
My dad, yeah. blood gingers.
Not the marrieds, I don't think.
It's that good old German work ethic. You feel really bad taking a whole day off.
Nope, I don't.
You don't?
No.
It's difficult for me. I can do one day typically pretty well. 2 in a row gets a little rough though. I feel like I have to be doing something, but
yeah. I mean, that was like this last weekend, Saturday. We didn't do anything. Like,
right.
Literally nothing. We napped and we ate food and we just hung out.
Which was amazing.
It was awesome. We haven't had a day like that in a long time. And then Sunday, you see like that look in Kylan's eye. And luckily I was feeling the same thing. So it was good. I was just kind of suppressing it. But there's this look in his eye of like, I need to be doing something. And so we deep cleaned a couple areas of our house and like threw away extra stuff that we just didn't need anymore. We do that on a pretty regular basis.
Clean the car out.
Clean the car. He plowed the snow. Yeah, you were.
For those of you who don't know, we're up in the mountains, and so we get plenty of snow, upwards of like 20 plus feet during the season. So we have a big cat tractor and a couple different attachments, a bucket and a giant snow plow that we just got. And so that's just one of the main chores during the winter here. But anyways, it's good to be, again, back on the mic, like I said, and talking to you guys. I hope everybody else had a great holiday. And we wanted to jump on and talk about our kind of systems and processes for the
end of year.
Yeah, for the end of year.
Beginning of next year.
Reviewing the last year, setting goals, and planning for the next year. This is something that our family It's just a tradition every year, and I guess it is for most people, setting goals for the new year, right? But we've got ours kind of down to a science, and we kind of wanted to share that process with you guys, both what Te and I do just in our little family here, and then what my larger family does, the Ginger clan does. So
the immediate family.
Yeah. So feel free to take any of what we're talking about and use it for yourself. Otherwise, this is kind of our process. So you can kind of break it down into two parts. We come to the end of the year, and the first thing we do is review the last year. And then the next thing we do is plan for the coming year. So do you want to talk to them about the jar and that part of the review?
So one of the things that Kylon and I do, or we started this last year, and this year we kind of slacked a little bit on it. I'm going to put it as a reminder on my phone for 2019 to do every week. But every week we try to find something that was awesome about that week. Even if it was kind of more of a mundane week or it seemed like things didn't get done, there's always something that you can find that was really awesome about the week, whether it was relationally or financially or within our jobs or whatever. Something awesome always happens, right? You just have to sometimes look a little bit harder for it, depending on the week. So we started the awesome jar, and anytime something awesome happens, we have little sticky notes, and we just write it down on a sticky note, and we stick it in the awesome jar. And then at the end of the year, so like today, because today is New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we're gonna do it live on the mic here.
Yeah, probably not all of them.
Not all of them, but
like at the end of the year, we sit down and we go through the whole jar, and we get to see all the awesome things that happen. Sorry, all the awesome things.
Just messing around with them.
Sorry.
That's all people can hear.
I know. All the awesome things that happened throughout the last year, and it's fun to see because sometimes you forget about, especially like the little things. It's easy to remember. Like right. Whenever we went to Europe, okay, that was really awesome. That was a great trip. But there's a lot of other things that happened throughout the year that were maybe smaller than that. And so it's a nice way to reflect.
It's easy to get complacent and think, woe is me, or I've got all these issues. You're comparing yourself to other people, and you sort of forget all of the things that you have to be grateful for that have happened, or the things that you possess. And so this is a really neat way to look back and remember a lot of the things that you probably forgot about that went well and that you're grateful for. Similar to this, we try to journal a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think I talked about it before, but I recently switched from journaling, just pen to paper to actually just a Word document, rather a Google Doc. And that's made a huge difference in my journaling habits. It takes a while to sit there, at least for me, and write on a physical piece of paper. It's slower, and switching to the Word document, I've gotten a lot better at journaling on a regular basis. And then, of course, it's searchable, and I can type basically as fast as I think, and so I'll journal a couple pages easy. Whereas before, it just takes so much time to write it out. Pen to paper, that maybe you get a couple paragraphs. And so part of this journaling process we try to do, not every day, but as much as possible, is to write down 3 things that you're grateful for that day. Yeah. And so sometimes those are the things that make it into the awesome jar as well. But we're talking, it's literally a jar. It's just a jar like for canned fruit or whatever, and it says the awesome jar on it. And we have it sitting on a shelf in our home with a pen and a pad of sticky notes right by it.
Next to it.
Yeah.
You can also I have a running tab in my phone too, in my notes section. And it's just a note that says grateful 2018. And I try to write down 3 things that I'm grateful for each day. And I try to make them different. I try to look for things that I haven't said I'm grateful for before. Like I can't put Kylon in there every day, even though it's true. And so I try to do that, and that's also a really fun way to look back and look at the last year, because you do find little things like, oh, it was, sunny today, or, we got this cute little new fireplace, and that was cozy this winter, or like little things like that are...
We got it because you were pestering me for like a month.
Because it's cute.
And then you got Sky, my little brother, and some of our other friends I was just getting random texts like, hey, you should really get this fireplace for Te. And like, if you know me, I'm really frugal. Like I don't like spending money, and the things that I buy, I make them last for like a crazy amount of time. Like if I had a superpower, like a mediocre superpower, it would be the ability to make things last forever. I've had the same pair of shoes for years. Like years, and my clothes, like, and things just don't wear out like as fast as I feel like
I don't know
they do for others. Anyway, so Te wants this, like, it's like $150 fireplace. And
it's cute. It totally made our Christmas season so warm and cozy.
Really ties the room together.
Yes, it does. Anyways, so little things like that. It's fun to look back. And I have a pretty good long note about it. Anyways, those are just a few things.
That's where the fun comes in, though. Yeah. Is when you've exhausted all the regular things, or the things that you're typically grateful for, and then you have to
really, like...
It's not like getting creative, but you have to really think about, like, what am I actually grateful for if you want to have something new. Yeah. If you're grateful for 3 things every day for a year, that really adds up. So by the end of the year, you're really forced to think deeply about what you're most grateful for.
Yeah, that's true. So anyways, those are a few things that you can do to reflect on the past year, because that's the first component, right, is reflecting on the last year of just what you've done, how you felt, what you're grateful for, how you've grown, those kinds of things.
Which is not something I feel like most people miss. That everybody knows the whole, okay, it's the end of the year, I got to set goals and get my life, figured out for this next year. Everybody does that, but I feel like fewer people talk about reflecting on the past year and seeing how far you've come in the last 12 months.
Which is really important, because if you don't look at how far you've come, then how do you know where you're going to go?
It adds so much more depth. So with all that, let's jump into our awesome jar. Okay, we won't go through all these, but it'd be fun to share some with you guys.
Okay.
What? Started my master tracking sheet.
Yeah.
that was a recent one.
Fulcrum has begun. That's a good one. Let's see if I can't get down to some of the ones from earlier this year.
Is there change in there?
Did you throw change in the awesome jar?
Probably. Unless I thought some of the change was
pesos.
Awesome. Oh, pesos. I guess I've taken 3 or 4 trips to Mexico this last year. I feel like I have to explain this one briefly to people.
What?
Starting my master tracking sheet. This is actually, Sam Watt and I are going to jump on the podcast and talk a bit about this. But I've been sort of obsessed with the idea recently of trying to get some percentage better in some way every day. People talk about this concept of getting 1% better every day. Or I think is it Jordan Peterson? Anyways, if you do get 1% better every day, that compounds on itself. And so in a year, it's something like you've improved, it's like 3,775% or something crazy like that. And so I've been kind of obsessed with this idea of tracking. Am I actually improving? How do you know if you're improving by a certain percentage every day? The answer to that is tracking data, basically, of your habits and what you actually do. And I'm surprised that we don't do this more, because if you've ever played a video game like Skyrim or like World of Warcraft or any RPG, all your stats are being tracked, right? You have this character and you're leveling up and you're going and doing these things, gaining new skills to gain more experience. And, you're really concerned with leveling up your character, and we don't really do that with our lives as much. And so I found a guy, and then I modified what he'd already done. This master spreadsheet that I don't think I'll do it forever, but it tracks all of my daily habits, like everything from what I eat during the day to my exercise routine to our finances to did I journal today? Did I meditate today?
Yeah.
To my mood, how many hours of sleep did I get? What was the sleep quality? And
what was your mood when you woke up?
Yeah, it tracks, all of that. And so I can look back over the last been doing it for a couple weeks now.
And relationally, too. It was like, did you meet any new people today?
Right.
Or, like, did you make any new contacts today?
Right.
Or did you follow up with people you haven't talked to in a while? Like, those things that you typically tend to forget about.
Right. So it's just interesting to go back and look at the data. Like, if I stay up late this night, I can look back and see, okay, did that affect my mood the next day? Did it affect my work? Did I get everything done on my to-do list? Anyways.
Okay. So Fulcrum has begun. We hit episode 100 of Successful Dropout. That made it in there.
Nice.
What's that one?
An incredible retreat weekend. That must have been...
Oh, yeah. In April, I had a
yoga retreat.
Oh, yeah. I finished my teacher training curriculum. That was
this year?
February, yeah. And hosted my first training in June.
Good night.
Yeah. And then the retreat in...
That's amazing.
That one. Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca treatment, Kylon. That was this year, too.
Yeah, that was in May.
That's crazy.
And then...
I forget about this stuff.
Now, whenever we have friends that come over, they put things in our jar.
Kyle was here.
He made it into the awesome jar.
Shout out to Kyle Biscotter. Yeah, that actually is fun. I remember last year we had a bunch from like Landon and
There's
Kennedy.
Probably
our friends would come over and write stuff they were grateful for, or just be like, Kyle was here. Put it in the awesome jar.
Anyways, that's just a little glimpse into our awesome jar, and it reminds you, like, the fact that I finished my teacher training curriculum at the beginning of this year. I totally spaced on that, even though... Yeah, it makes sense.
You guys should see this thing. It's this massive coursework.
Yeah. So that's how you reflect. So that's how Kylon and I reflect. Another way to reflect that your family does, that you guys did a lot growing up, was a little bit more... categorical, maybe? Yeah. So every year, Te and I take maybe a day, and really we do this. We go through the awesome jar, we reflect and talk about the last year, and then we talk about what we want out of the next year, and we write our goals and affirmations for the coming year. And but then we do it today or tomorrow.
Yeah. But then we do it, we end up doing it twice, because my immediate family, we do this all together. It's typically the second weekend in the year, first or second weekend in the new year.
It's this coming weekend.
Yeah, for us it's this coming weekend. So we literally take a couple days, and together we all reflect on the last year and then set goals and stuff for the new year.
It's changed a bit now that there's more marrieds. It was more like that whenever we were first married, but now that Orrin and Lachelle are married and they've got baby, it's harder to like all stay in one place together for hours at a time, like not talking and just reflecting. So now everyone does their reflection for 2018 or the previous year on their own. And then we come together for like a good half day or full day if your dad has it his way. Just sit there and talk about like what we just talk and we share. It's more of like a sharing time now, as where before it would be a whole weekend where we would come up. This was when we lived in Yakima, but we'd like come up to the mountains where we had no service. None of our like livelihood was here, and be just like silent.
Right.
So it's changed a little bit over the years, but
yeah,
still the same concept. And if you have little kids, then this is like, taking that time to reflect all together, I think is really essential, because it helps them learn how to do it. But
so still, like, we try to get together as a family, and then part of that is we'll take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours during like a Saturday or Sunday, and everybody just goes off into their own corner or room or whatever, and it's quiet time. Like, it's meant to just go and reflect on what went right and what you're proud of over the last year, and to sort of set your goals and stuff for the new year, and then we all come together and discuss that. And kind of celebrate, past accomplishments, and then future goals. So again, speaking of just reflecting on the last year, the first step that we always do is we open up a Word document or take a piece of paper and write down, ask yourself the question, what am I proud of over this last year in these 6 categories? And so those categories are mentally, physically, emotionally, vocationally, like your career, spiritually, and relationally. And so it's those 6 categories, and you sort of just go through those and just start journaling or typing out, like, what am I really proud of that I've accomplished or in some way gotten better in each of these different categories. And so, mentally it could be, you learned a new skill or a hobby. You read X amount of books. Physically, it could be you lost weight or you gained weight or gained muscle, got a 6-pack. Emotionally, it could be, maybe you forgave somebody and kind of learned to forgive somebody that you've held a grudge against for a while, or you've, I don't know. This is always a tough one for me because I'm...
No. It's a tough one in general, I think, to think about, okay, how have I grown, or like what areas have I improved on emotionally this last year? But like, I don't know, you could say like, well, in this instance, my typical response would have been this, and because of maybe meditation or whatever, I've learned to respond in this manner and be less reactive. I don't know, little things like that.
Yeah, like controlling your emotions regardless of the circumstance,
right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Vocationally, obviously, it's a big one for us,
It always ends up being like the biggest one.
Yeah, like career-wise. I mean, business is sort of our life, and so...
Yeah.
It's a big one. Spiritually, this is depending on kind of what you believe and what you practice, what works for you. For us, it tends to be this like Christian, Buddhist, something else, hybrid. Fusion sort of deal. But I know you're constantly reading different books to explore your spirituality, and I'm always very interested in that as well.
I always share it with you.
Yeah. And then, of course, relationally, did you spend more time with loved ones this last year, or maybe reach out to a sibling or a parent that you haven't contacted in a while, that sort of thing.
Right.
So this is all part of the reflection process. You go through those categories and what went well this year. So it's similar to the awesome jar. So those two combined are very, very powerful. And really, typically it can get you into a very good mental state.
Yeah.
To tackle the goals for the new year. So then moving on to planning.
Yeah. So you've reflected.
You
had a great year.
Mm-hmm. Now what are you going to do this year?
Yeah.
So this is always the fun one.
Hold on. I want to take a bite of my beans.
I'm keeping this in.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Definitely. It's like 10 a.m. in the morning. We haven't eaten breakfast. You're in a baggy sweater with no pants on. What?
You're
I'm in my
robe.
I'm in a robe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a little authenticity.
Eating
beans. We're not adults.
We're doing so well.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you can continue. I'm
okay. So planning. So that's pretty simple. You just, set goals. You set your new goals. Also affirmations.
Mm-hmm. Any mantras you want to have?
Yeah, mantras.
We started that
for the new year.
Last year. We have like a mantra for the year.
I think I started it 2 years ago. I just didn't call it a mantra. It was just like a
focus.
Yeah, here are like 3 things that I really want to focus and not affirm, but just say to myself every day this year. So for instance, those for me this last year were
life is
always happening for me, not to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was more action, less thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ratio there I'd repeat to myself is make sure you do 80% action, 20% thinking today.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, I am open, I am grateful, I am infinitely capable. And these were things that came out of my ayahuasca experience, that, I experienced being just generally open to kind of whatever would happen, that like not holding things with such a tight, closed fist, but kind of having them, open at the palm of my hand. That and gratefulness, and then, capability, that the kind of capability and potential, that I have. I experienced those to a level that, I never realized I had before. And so those kind of became a mantra, reminding me every day to sort of hold things with an open hand, be basically chill, just like chill out. The subtle art of not giving an F is a great book kind of around that concept.
Yeah. Being
grateful, wanting what I already have. And then this belief that I'm infinitely capable. I can do and have anything I want in life, through desire, hard work, perseverance, taking action on it.
Yeah.
So those were my mantras this last year. What were yours?
I think the main one was life is always happening for you, not to you. Mm-hmm. That was one that I kind of had, and then I did steal your open, grateful, and infinitely capable after you shared it with me.
Yeah.
For your ayahuasca retreat, I say that one to myself often.
Yeah. It sounds cheesy, like it's almost a little bit cringy for me to talk to people about, but because I even do have like kind of hand motions to it. When I say I'm open, like I just have my hands at my side with my palms facing out, and then when I say I'm grateful, I bring them up in sort of a prayer. Bring the palms together like I'm praying, and then I'm infinitely capable. Like my hands just go back down to my side, but like my fists are closed, like I'm ready to just
resolute.
Yeah, resolute. Just kind of take on the world. But it really just puts me in a great mindset. Saying that audibly to yourself.
Yeah.
Having your sort of subconscious hear that for 365 days straight, plus, if you can say in the evening. It's a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
setting goals for the year. So how we do it in our families, we have like a mantra or an affirmation or whatever you want to call it, and that typically goes like at the top of our Ginger goals. Mm-hmm. And then we have our affirmations. Like we each have our affirmations that we say in the morning.
Yeah, I have like 15 of those. They're sort of a mixture of affirmations and goals, or not affirmations and values. Yeah, like non-negotiable values. Yeah. Values. You can. This isn't like an exact science. There's no one way to do this, and so you can take what we're talking about and just, like some people have their values listed out, like I value integrity, honesty, I guess that's the same thing, but hard work, that sort of thing. Mine are different. They're sort of this fusion of values and affirmations. And so I say, I'm a man of integrity. I always tell the truth. My word is my bond. That's an affirmation, but it has a value in there. I value integrity. So I have like 15 of those that I say every day.
I think I have 10. I simplified mine though recently because I wanted to be able to remember them easier, and I was having a hard time remembering them.
Right.
And I got that idea from Rachel and Dave Hollis from the Rise Together podcast.
Oh, right on.
Of like simplifying your values so that you can like say them out. And what they do is they write them every morning. So I actually write them down every single morning. Yeah. Their values or their affirmations.
That would take me a while unless I typed it.
Unless you typed it. But like, writing them down and saying them at the same time. That's what they do.
That's great.
Yeah.
I guess so I've had a similar set of values for several years now. Mm-hmm. I don't change them. They don't 100% change every year. I may take out a few if I feel like, okay, I've really solidified this in my life and add some more, but for the most part, those stay pretty consistent. Like, the way I came up with those is I'm thinking, at the end of my life, which I'm hoping is like, another 70 years or so plus.
It will be.
What do I want people to say about me?
Right.
Kylon was this, Kylon was that. He, always did this. And that's what ends up being my values and my affirmations. So those don't change a lot. And because of that,
wording.
they're
and I added one about being
completely memorized. You added one about being my wife?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
It's the first one.
What does it say?
I am an exceptional wife to Kylon.
Heck yeah. Yes, you are. You could cross that one off. You've been moving that for years already.
Well, I know, but I'm saying it out loud every day.
But yeah, anyways, mine's probably a page. It's probably a page long of just affirmations / values, but I have them all memorized now.
Wow. Yeah, no. I don't. Mine's not.
But I bet you would get there.
No, I think I can now that I've simplified and condensed them a little bit, because they had a lot of filler words, and so I just I simplified them.
Right.
It wasn't that I changed them; I just simplify. Okay.
Anyways,
anyways,
and then goals.
So yeah, we have our mantra. We've got our affirmations or values. Oh, our mission statement. We have our family mission statement. Mm-hmm. And then we have goals for the year, and that's kind of changed for us throughout the years. Whenever we first got married, we did it the mentally, physically, spiritually. We did all those categories. And
so setting goals. So just like you would reflect when we're proud about each of these categories, you can set goals in each one.
In each of those categories, yeah. Right.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah. So we started out doing that when we first got married, and then I am just a very different personality from the majority of the Gingers.
Which has been great.
Which has been wonderful, I think.
We've needed
for the whole family. But for me, that was really overwhelming to do it that way. And it got to be really, just not as, it wasn't as exciting for me. It seemed very, too structured, too,
Well, yeah.
I know.
This is the Ginger way.
I know. But too structured, and, it wasn't a fun experience for me, because it was okay, now I have to go to this category and then this category and so it was, what book was it that we read? How to Win Friends? No, where we did it in roles for a while. Is it How to Win Friends or Seven Habits?
7 Habits.
7 Habits. So 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah. He does something similar to this, but he breaks it down in roles. So, his roles as a person. And that could be, for me, it was wife, friend, business owner, sister,
mm-hmm. These are all the roles that
These are all the roles that I play. Yeah, and then, I had one for myself personally. Me as Te, my role, right. Personally. Not serving anyone or not having to do anything for anyone, but except for myself. So we did that for a good long while, and that's typically how I tend to gravitate, or that's how I still gravitate towards that method. Mm-hmm. Just because it's easier for me to break it up, and because there are a lot of areas as my role of a wife. There were physical things, there were emotional things, there were relational things that kind of all tied into who I was as your wife. And so by breaking it up emotionally, spiritually, relationally, they were all scattered in my mind and not all together. And I'd rather have them all together under one role than in a category.
Yeah.
Because they can all pertain to different
roles. There's multiple ways to do this. So 2 ways we've already talked about is splitting your goals up between those 6 categories.
And then as roles.
Or, splitting them up as roles.
But even then, it was last year that we simplified even more, because kind of you memorized your affirmations or your values, you wanted to be able to memorize our goals.
Right.
And I don't know, it was last year that we did it the first time, right? I'm not quite sure what we're going to do this year. What do you think we're going to do this year?
I'm not exactly sure. Again, it's like there's not a science to this. It's not like if you do it one way, you're not gonna accomplish your goals or anything. The point is, even if you just set one goal, and even if it's just having to do with your career or your relationship with a significant other, like that's better than anything. So like just set a goal. At the end of the day, just set a goal. And when you do set a goal, you want to set SMART goals. And you've had to have heard this before, but just a quick overview. You know, a SMART goal is it's measurable, achievable, relevant.
Where's the S? Simple?
Oh yeah. As I'm just looking at it,
specific.
Specific, measurable, assignable, relevant, and time-based. Mm-hmm. Assignable. I don't feel like that. Anyways,
assignable?
Yeah, I haven't heard that one before.
Attainable, maybe?
Achievable. Yeah.
Assignable. I like achievable better.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based or time-bound.
Putting a due date on it, right? If you want.
So again, a bad goal would be I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
In 2019, that would be a bad goal. A SMART goal would be to lose
5 pounds.
Yeah.
By June 2019.
Yeah.
By working out, doing your meal planning. Well, that would be like the
steps to get there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, what you first said, that would be a SMART goal. Right. Yeah, and then for every goal, again, if you just look at this whole process from a bird's eye view, it's taking large chunks of things and just breaking it down into like manageable steps, right? So you have these large sort of categories or spheres rather in your life, physically, emotionally, mentally. And you set goals in each of those, and then each of those goals you want to break down into specific action steps. Again, they need to be SMART, with like a date on when you're going to get it done. And these are all the actual steps and tasks that you need to do in order to reach this goal of losing 5 pounds. And so a task would be, work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday every week. Or work out Monday and do these exercises, would be a task.
Right.
Do that X amount of times and you've reached your goal. So, set SMART goals. What else do we got here? I just wrote down read every morning, and I guess that's a key thing. You don't want to just write down these affirmations, values, goals, mantras, and forget about them.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you figured out by now we read them every morning, and I would like to get to the point where I do it every night too, but that has not really been a priority. But reading through these things, even if it's brief, sometimes we're just on the go and we've got to be somewhere early, we're in the car. That's why I like having it memorized, because I can even just go through it in my head really quick. But even if you just glance and sort of do a speed, read of your goals, it's better than anything. But it sets your mind and your intentions straight for that day. And I'll tell you, I've really started to notice when I don't do that. I'm more irritable during the day. I get more frustrated. It's easier for me to, become some degree depressed for some reason if I haven't read my goals, affirmations, and stuff first thing during the day.
Or even just feel like your mind is not in the right place.
Yeah.
I know I felt like that a week ago or something. It just felt kind of blah, and I had realized that I hadn't read any of my stuff that I normally do in the morning, and so I took some time and did that, and it...
Yeah, and what it comes down, you're really just taking time for yourself.
Yeah, that's true too.
First thing during the day, taking time to calm down, shut everything off, and remind yourself and affirm in yourself who you want to be, where you're going, what you want to accomplish, and what your ultimate mission and vision is.
Yeah.
And that gives you a ton of confidence going into the day. Sometimes it just feels like you're bulletproof, even if crap's hitting the fan. So.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Anyways, anything anything else? Oh, there is one thing I wanted to go over because this last year I didn't accomplish a lot of the goals that I had set.
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't.
I honestly haven't even looked at the ones I originally set at the beginning of the year in a really long time. I should.
Well, that's not good.
I know. They've changed so much throughout the year, like from what they originally were. I look at what my goals are now, but from the beginning of the year, I haven't looked at that original copy.
Right, okay, that makes more sense. That's fair. Yeah, because so I wanted to address this because it depends on your lifestyle. For us, this last year has really been a season of change, and really the last couple years, change and pivoting, and we started a lot of things that just didn't pan out, and that led to pivoting and starting new things. And so I don't want people who are in the same sort of position or have the same lifestyle to get frustrated because they set these goals and at the end of the year those goals have either completely changed and they haven't.
Right.
Something like that, because that's what happened to me this last year. I look back and there's maybe 1 or 2 goals that I set that I've actually hit this last year. Some of them it has been through just a lack of follow through, on my own part, although that's come from just having not very much bandwidth because of other projects that have come along that we didn't have before the beginning of the year, and so that are just higher priority than the original goals I set, if that makes sense. And some goals I've set, it's just completely changed. It's been like, okay, this is not realistic for whatever reason. This is no longer a SMART goal, and we have to pivot, and so it changes. And so it's easy to be frustrated at that. I kind of was, but then again, that's why like the awesome jar and stuff is so powerful, because you can still look back and be like, even though I didn't accomplish these goals, here's all these other things that happened that I had no idea were coming at the beginning of last year.
Or I wasn't expecting them, or I wasn't even planning for them, and yet they still happened.
Like Fulcrum, for example.
Yeah.
Fulcrum was not even an idea at this point last year. Fulcrum, actually, the name Fulcrum and the parts of the idea was something I had been working on at the beginning of the Successful Dropout podcast, actually. It was this idea of sort of a school for dropouts and opt-outs that, that for various reasons, again, I didn't end up having the bandwidth to execute on. But now it's sort of come around full circle to be this business incubator that the entire family is involved in, and that we're launching in our city. Yeah. Innovation Center, I should say.
Yes, Innovation Center. Right.
People, like, a lot of people don't understand what that is, but
sorry, my chair.
Anyway, so new thing we didn't have at the beginning of the year that now there's a bunch of goals attached to, and it takes up, a bit of our bandwidth and takes priority over some of the other goals that we've set. And so sometimes that happens.
But that's why it's important to take the time to reflect so that you don't get depressed. Because if you were to just look at, here are the goals that I set at the beginning of the year, I didn't hit any of them. And then you have to have like this, motivation to go and create new goals for the 2019. Like, it's not going to be super exciting for you. And so taking the time to reflect and have things like the awesome jar or just a grateful journal that you're looking back on that you can be like, wow, I actually did do a lot of things, even if they weren't what I originally planned on. It gives you that kind of motivation and drive to want to do even more in 2019.
Exactly, yeah. And don't be afraid, these goals, I'm writing down new goals sometimes halfway through the year, or modifying old ones. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was too ambitious, or maybe it wasn't ambitious enough, or maybe we pivoted slightly. Yeah. But the point is, we keep them updated. Mm-hmm. And every year we come back around, we review what we've accomplished and what's happened, and then we plan for the future, even though sometimes that future changes and that the plans have to change. So, anyways, that's all I've got.
I think that's all I have.
Cool. Well, we love you guys. We love this community, And to all the successful dropouts out there listening, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And remember, stay hungry, stay foolish.